If you want to pump your body and expand your mind, there's only one place to go. Mind Pump. Mind Pump with your hosts, Sal DiStefano, Adam Schaefer, and Justin Andrews.
In this exciting episode of Mind Pump.
Giddy.
So for the first 30 minutes, we don't talk too much about fitness, but we do have our fun introductory conversation.
Sharing some gadgets.
Now, I open up the episode by talking about my brand new breakthrough alarm clock. It's actually kind of cool. Wakes you up softly. I'm hoping these guys get those. And then Adam returns with his own gadgetry talk. He tells everybody about his new toilet light. I guess there's a light in his toilet that helps him aim in the bowl properly. We talk about a new law in Utah called it's called the Free Range Parenting Law. Apparently, it produces children with better fatty acids. And that's free range.
Yeah, they're also grass finished.
My bad. Yeah. But it's anyway. It's pretty cool. We gotta look it up. Then we talked about my post on cellulite. Did you know that cellulite was an invented term by the health industry to sell you more shit?
You sons of bitches.
It's true. We talk about the rise of plastic surgery. Oh, we all got our girlfriend's Valentine's Day gifts from Vuori. Did you know that Vuori makes women's clothing too?
Yeah.
Yes, they do. Look, we are sponsored by Vuori. If you go to Vuori Clothing, let me spell that for you, VUORI clothing.com/mindpump, you're going to get 25% off. That's a huge discount.
Yeah.
Then we talked about that runner in Colorado that got attacked by a mountain lion and killed the mountain lion with his bare hands.
What is he, like a superhero or something?
He's a badass. And then Doug got us some surprises from Thrive Market. One of my favorite ones are these Siete grain-free tortilla chips. If you're eating a diet that's free of grains,
yes,
and
gluten-free,
it's incredibly delicious. Anyway, Thrive Market, one of our sponsors, and the largest online retailer of non-GMO and organic products, including skincare products and products for your pets. Check this out. Go to thrivemarket.com/mindpump, and you will get a free month membership and 25% off your first order. Then we get into the fitness portion of this episode. The first question was, what is the best way to progress into pistol squats and box jumps? Both those exercises are pretty advanced. How would you get yourself to the point where you can do those in your workouts? Next question, can you use trigger sessions as a warm-up on your main workout days? Now, trigger sessions are found in MAPS Anabolic, but in that part of the episode, we talk all about what warm-ups are supposed to do for your body and what priming is and why priming is a more effective way to set your body up for your workouts than trigger sessions. Next question, thoughts on using the TRX suspension type trainers for trigger sessions on non-gym days. In other words, when you're not in the gym, can you or should you use suspension trainers to kind of work out in between? We have a nice discussion about suspension trainers and their benefits in that part of the episode. And finally, is there any truth to the statement that 30 grams of protein is all you can absorb at one time? In other words, if you eat more than 30 grams of protein at one time, it just gets wasted.
You're going to poop it out.
Or you'll store it as body fat or something like that. Is that a bullshit statistic sold to us by the fitness industry to sell you supplements? Yes. Find out all about it in that part of this episode. Also, this month, I'd like to tell you guys about our 50% off sale of MAPS Performance.
Tell us.
Now, MAPS Performance is a program designed around what we would consider to be an ancient athlete, ultimate total athletic performance.
A Herculean athlete.
So picture this, right? You look at a Greek sculpture, a Greek god or a Roman god sculpture. What do they look like, right? They have well-developed core muscles, pronounced obliques. They have nice delts, upper back, strong muscular bodies, not overdeveloped, more of a balanced aesthetic, kind of a physique that looks like it could run, jump, kick your ass, and kill something.
It can be badass and kill a cougar.
That's what MAPS Performance is designed to do. It's designed to train you in all different types of ranges of motion. It's designed to train you in all the different planes of motion. So you're going to be squatting, pushing, pulling. You'll be twisting. You'll be moving laterally. You'll be moving front to back. You'll be moving high to low and low to high. I mean, we covered all the bases with this program. It's a not boring program. Like if you're bored with your workouts, if you go to the gym and you do your traditional workouts, you're like, I'm bored, I want to try something totally different and see what my body can do, MAPS Performance is the best program. It's extremely comprehensive, hundreds of workout videos on there. It's 50% off. By the way, we revamped the program, so when it gets redone, you get updated automatically. So if you already have MAPS Performance, you'll get the update at no additional cost. And if you enroll now at the 50% off sale, you also will get updated at no additional cost, and that'll happen forever. Anytime we update a program,
It's got that brand new smell.
updated automatically for free. So if you go to mapsfitnessproducts.com, click on MAPS Performance, look at the program, you want to get it, use the code GREEN50, GREEN 50 for 50% off. So if you want that ancient athlete performance and look, this is the program for you. Again, it's 50% off. Go check it out. That was such a bully thing to say right there.
What?
You're all, what, you can't see that?
we got stupid eyes.
Remember when you were a kid, you'd make fun of kids for just stupid shit?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
And then do the Beavis and Butthead laugh.
It takes you a long time to tie your shoes.
Idiot.
Can't even tie your shoes. Just making fun of people. That's you right now. Just making fun of people.
So when I don't feel good,
You get mean, huh?
Yeah, it's
just
like
mean, say mean shit.
it's not funny anymore. It's just like fuck it. Like you're an idiot.
Yeah. You don't look too
Dummy.
sick. You look
I'm on the way out.
you look cuddly.
Yeah, I feel, I can't make it.
You're all bundled up and
I'm
everything.
hot, cold, hot, cold. I think I'm pregnant.
We might have to
Wow. Flashes.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
You're glowing
It doesn't
today,
work.
so
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. I think we're all going to give you
No matter how hard I try?
how hard to get
You've
yourself
been
pregnant.
trying,
yeah.
How would you do that?
I don't know.
that is weird.
Self jizz. We're going to give you a group hug afterwards.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding.
You can get infected,
Yeah,
not me.
fuck that, dude.
Yeah, I'm
I
good.
heard you on the phone yesterday. I was on the phone with Katrina. I was asking her about some questions about the interview I was going to get on, and I hear in the back just fucking,
Uncontrollably coughing.
oh, dude.
that was yesterday.
Yeah, she was like, and I could hear her before she answered the phone. She's like, start coughing. Sal's on the phone. Hey, Sal, what's going on?
You really gotta sell this.
Yeah. But really, we were out by the pool, hanging out, swimming laps.
Monterey,
Fuck, man.
hanging out at the beach
I
house
wish,
again.
dude. I'm such a baby when I get sick. It's terrible.
You're not as bad as you used to
Most
be.
dudes are. Yeah.
I feel like you're not as bad as you used to be, though.
Well, I mean, I haven't really been sick that much. I'm trying to think the last time that I definitely haven't been sick since we've been in the new house. It was before, I think it was probably winter last year. I think I got a little bit of a cold.
So, I was talking to Doug about this yesterday while you were gone, that I think, because obviously we know why you got sick, you didn't go to sleep. We were in Vegas and you went to bed at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
the night before we left. And I was telling Doug, what makes partying terrible feeling isn't the alcohol and all that stuff. It's the lack of sleep.
Yeah.
Because if I drink during the day,
That's the worst part.
yes, I think that's the reason why it fucking hurts so bad.
Yeah.
I figured that out now. That's why I don't go to bed.
That
so-
or it's what happens afterwards. Because, this is now attached to that night. Like, that's all I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about the great dance night and the steak we had. I'm thinking about, fuck, I got sick for 3 days afterwards. That's what sucks.
You don't sleep 2 nights in a row. You're not a young whippersnapper anymore, right? So and your immune system's depressed. Then you get on the plane.
I love that word, whippersnapper.
It's a whippersnapper. We
Yeah.
need to figure out the
What
origin
is that?
of that.
Whippersnapper.
You probably look it up.
I think it's let's guess. It sounds like if you have a young, like a nice taut whip, it makes
Yeah.
a but then as it gets old, it doesn't do it anymore.
Yeah, like a whipper limper.
Yeah, it's a limper
Limper whipper.
snipper. You know what I mean?
Maybe Doug could look that up for us.
Yeah. Dude, I got to tell you guys about a game changer. Game changer piece of technology. Not exaggerating.
What did you get?
I swear to God, if you guys don't buy one for yourselves, I'm going to buy one for you because that's how big of a game changer
What
it
is it?
So I bought, look, we got the meaning of origin of the phrase whippersnap.
Oh my God. What is it?
It is, it's originally these ne'er-do-wells were known simply and without any great linguistic scroll down imagination as whip snappers. The term merged with an existing 17th century term for street rogues.
Street rogues.
Oh, a street rogue was called a snipper snapper. I like that better.
Snipper snapper.
I like that better. Yeah. So anyway,
Street rogues.
game changer. Okay.
What did you get? Spit it out.
So Jessica's client told her about this alarm clock that she bought. And I can't remember the name of the brand. I think it's Philips. And I'm sure other companies make them. But it looks like it's a big round. It's like this big. It's white. And it looks like a big light almost. And you put it next to your bed and you set the alarm for when you want to wake up. And the way it wakes you up is about 15 minutes before, a very light amber glow begins. And as it gets closer to the time you wake up, the light softly gets brighter and brighter, perfectly mimicking
You have your own mini sun.
a rising sun. So I thought she got it. She's like, we got to get this or whatever. I was like $100. I'm like, fucking $100 for an alarm clock? I mean, whatever. So, and you can also put sounds on it to wake you up. So like birds chirping and all that other stuff.
That sounds way better than.
Well, so I didn't put any sounds. I just used the light. So I turned the sounds off, right? Put it next to my bed, and I used my phone as backup just in case. So I set the alarm for 5 a.m., but I set the phone for 5:10 just in case I don't wake up from it.
Right.
So now I've done it 4 nights in a row. It wakes you up, but it wakes you up so softly that when you wake up, you ever wake up on your own, no alarm clock, you just wake up and you're like, oh, I feel good.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like every time.
Really?
Yes. It's so weird.
I might try this.
I literally wake up feeling like I had better sleep.
Yeah.
But what I'm realizing now is that when you wake up abruptly, the way that alarms wake you up, because they jolt you out of sleep,
Yeah.
it jolts you out of a deep slumber, and it makes you feel like shit for the rest of the morning.
Well, now, okay, so here's part of my problem too. Is like I'll get the abrupt wake up, but then later, like I find myself waking up before the alarm goes off. So it's like my body's like already preset, and I'm like anticipating it too much. Are you anticipating it now, like with
God,
the
you have
light?
a lot of anxiety in your life.
No.
I do.
Yeah.
Chill out.
You need more sex.
Yeah.
He's out.
Truth.
No, I don't anticipate it. First off, if you set it at 5 a.m., it'll start going off at 4:45. It'll start the light glow, and literally, it's simulating a sun that's rising. So it's waking you up in a more natural way. And so the way you wake up is you don't wake up abruptly. You wake up so
I'm down to try it.
bro.
I'm down to try it. I'll try it out.
Fucking game. I thought it wouldn't wake me up.
Did you order it on Amazon, or where did you guys get it from?
I got it on Amazon.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
But you got to get the good one.
You know,
check it out.
The sunrise, it's like a Somnio sunrise or something like that.
Was it Christmas that I did the thing where I gave the top 20 gifts or whatever like that?
Yeah,
was
you
it,
did.
Was it? So I don't know if I told you guys, but I bought one of them. And
Wait, which one did you buy?
I bought the light that goes in your toilet. That thing is.
Oh yeah.
You want to talk about game changer? That's game changer.
I thought you just sat down when you go pee every time.
No, it doesn't matter. Now I don't even have to, now I don't have to switch a light on or even use my phone. So normally, if I had, because I have to get up in the middle of the night to go pee all the time, right? That's just I have a 2-year-old's bladder, right? And I get up and I use my phone, right? So I click my phone and I use that as like light to make my way to the toilet. But now, as soon as I get up out of bed and I make my way down the little hall to the toilet, the sensor picks me up moving, and then the toilet glows before I even get there. So toilet's already glowing before
Just a beacon of piss.
Oh, it's
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
it's great.
Just ready for you.
And
That's gross.
now I don't necessarily have to sit down. Now I sit down when I'm like half asleep, but if I'm not totally asleep, I can stand up now and pee because I have a light that's
Now,
there
is
for
it
me.
a normal light or is it a black light?
No, you could change the colors.
Okay. 'cause
So right now it's
you don't
blue.
want a black light near the toilet.
Wow, that's got to help with aim too.
What do you mean?
Like getting it in there.
You know, it'd be cool if the lights did this. If they went from the outside in, so it went.
Yeah,
Kind of like it's directing you towards the.
I've noticed that. Have you noticed like the urinals that have little bees? Like you want to piss on the bee.
They do that on
That's
purpose.
why they put it there.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do that on purpose.
Yeah.
They put it there
I need
so that men aim for
Yeah.
when you
You
have
want
a
to drown that bee.
when you have a kid, if you have a boy, like a little boy, one of the things they teach you to
Yeah, piss
tell
in
you
a Cheerio.
Yep, they say throw a Cheerio in the toilet.
Yeah.
And it teaches the kid to aim.
It's great
You know what I'm
parenting. Hack right there.
It's like speaking of parenting, did you hear that?
Then you put a bowl of Cheerios for him.
He's just all over it.
Whole
Yeah.
bunch of
Yeah.
targets.
Wow, yes.
Did you see the article
Tries to eat
that
'em.
Jackie sent over about free range parenting?
Yeah.
The law that got passed over in
Yeah.
Utah?
What does that even mean? Is that like off leash?
I can't believe they even have to make a law.
Well, yeah, that's weird. I think it's the law is to protect them or the government from actually filing whatchamacallit on you, like child
because
protective services.
Yeah,
on
if
your
you have
ass.
let's say you have an 11-year-old and you let them play at the park by themselves, and your house is like down the street, then people call the cops. Used to happen, call the cops, and then they would show up, and then you'd get in trouble for neglect. And so this law is to protect parents who give their kids a little bit more responsibility.
So what's your thoughts on that? What do you guys think?
I think it's stupid that we have to make a law.
Yeah.
You know what? A lot has changed, dude. Like when we were kids, how old were you when you started walking to school on your own?
Very young. We've talked about. I was latchkey.
Yeah. Well, I did it.
I was in junior high.
I was in 5th grade, 4th, 5th grade maybe, and my school wasn't too far. It was maybe quarter to a half a mile away. But today, in many towns, many cities, if you have a 4th or 5th grader, because how old are you in 4th grade? 10, 5th grade, 10, 11. If the kids are doing that on their own, walking by themselves, you run the threat of having fucking child protection services called on you.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know?
Yeah.
One of the Jordan Peterson talked about this in 12 Rules of Life. It was a great segment where he says, never do for your kids what they can do for themselves.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a very smart, very, very smart thing to say, because kids, and this, I'm very guilty of this. The way I was raised in particular, it's some things my mom just did for me until I moved out. Certain things I did on my own, like I walked to school and stuff like that, but other things I didn't do at all. And she robbed me of that confidence building. So I didn't know how to operate a dishwasher. I didn't know how to, clean, certain things or whatever. 'Cause she always did them for me. And so I want my kids to be that, have that confidence. So I think it's important that parents let their kids be a little bit, more responsible at younger ages.
Yeah.
It's funny they have to pass a law.
Yeah, it is interesting because I remember that, like walking home, like through horse trails, and like I was just gone. Like we were gone and doing our own thing, and then I would eventually make my way home, and nobody was like worried or calling, the cops to make sure they know where I am or anything. Like it was just a totally different mentality towards that. You'd see kids walking all the time together.
The only thing is that because it's safer today than it was when we were kids, right? There's far less kids getting abducted and killed or whatever.
The irony is people don't think that, though.
Yeah.
Well, but I also wonder if the reason why there's less kids being abducted is because less kids are walking to school in their 4th grade. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point.
What if like a bunch of child, predators pass this law? They're like, that's the free range kids.
Throw that out there.
Well, I guess we'll see, right? I mean, time will tell over the next couple of years if Utah all of a sudden has a spike in kidnapping. Probably not a good idea.
Let your kids be free.
Right.
This will end up happening. So,
oh shit!
Did you guys see the post that I put on Instagram? All the shares it got or whatever. The cellulite one.
Oh yeah. Well, you struck a chord with that one.
Topic.
Yeah, because I don't think a lot of people knew that about. I didn't know that about cellulite up until recently. I think it's a brilliant thing that needs to be brought up on the show. In fact, and it did strike a chord. So I learned this relatively recently. But the word cellulite, as used to describe the appearance of dimpled fat. So the way we understand, because cellulitis means something totally different. So the word cellulite's existed for a long time, but cellulite to describe the bumpy fat that people will have, that didn't exist until 1972. So before 1972, no woman would have looked at her body fat, or man for that matter, because men can get it too, and say, "Oh, I have cellulite," and that's an unhealthy, terrible form of fat. They just would have looked at it and be like, "It's just body fat."
Yeah.
1972, a woman, Nicole Ronsard, she had this really ritzy New York salon. And she came up with the term cellulite to describe this type of body fat, and she had massages and creams that she said would help reduce the appearance of this type of body fat, which is bullshit. It doesn't help. But it was brilliant, and she wrote a book on it. The book went crazy.
I didn't realize that this was all fabricated on some snake oil bullshit.
So the book went crazy.
Wow. So much sense.
And then because, and here's the thing. People don't like having lots of body fat on them. That's been around for a long time, so before 1972. But when you can name the way it looks and then make it sound like it's a dysfunction, like it's this rare, bad type of fat, when in fact 90% of women have it statistically, and a decent chunk of men have it as well. When you can do that, you strike a nerve, you create a new insecurity, and now you sell a product, right? And so that's what she did. She wrote a book. It went bestseller. Major magazines like People magazine interviewed her, talked about it, and then before you know it, there's this huge market for cellulite creams and remedies and stuff like that, all based on on making people, and in this case particularly women, feel shitty about something that most people have.
Right.
Feel really shitty about themselves. And so I wrote about that, and it really did strike a chord.
And what's normally in there that, like, because of course they'll probably use like one ingredient, let it be aloe vera or vitamin E or something that has some sort of backing that, hey, this is good for your skin. So that gets thrown in there so they can back it up and say that it's got some positive benefits to using it. Do you know what that is with all these creams?
No.
Like, what do they use?
Oh, I don't.
You know how that is. They'll use a little bit of. I mean, what did what's her face I saw got on your page and tried to?
They're saying lymph massage and this, that, and the other helps with it. Look, if you have cellulite, and if we were to look at a pie chart of things that would positively affect the appearance of cellulite, right? We looked at the pie chart. 99% of that pie chart would be get leaner.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Maybe 1% would be, balance out hormones,
dry brushing or something.
Yeah,
shit.
because you have maybe hormone imbalance that can change the appearance of your body fat. Because I know it's an estrogen sensitive tissue and all that stuff. But mainly just get leaner. That's the main thing. And how do you get leaner? Well, we talk about that all the time on the show. But it's easy to sell. It's hard to sell that because everybody knows that. It's easy to say this specific herb or product or technique is specifically for cellulite. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the thing that I said on the post was that, we talk about all the time on the show is the reason why they do this, the reason why they make you feel like shit and make you feel like a victim or make you feel insecure is because it works.
Yeah.
Because every time they do that to you, you buy something. And so the only way that they're going to stop doing that, if you're sick and tired of feeling shitty or seeing marketing that's designed to make you feel like shit, especially if you have kids, especially if you have children or daughters and you don't want them to go through that. Like I look at my kids and I'm much more aware of it. And I look at it and go, fuck, I don't want my kids to get targeted like this, to feel like shit, about themselves. Well, the reason why they do it is because it works. It works as we end up, we give them money. Right. And so they keep doing what gives them money. And so what we need to do is we need to stop giving them money.
Yeah.
So when you see shit like this, turn it off, change the channel, don't pay them, don't fund them, and eventually they'll change their tactics.
Well, meanwhile, hasn't plastic surgery gone up like substantially? I know like across the seas over in was it Korea, like it's like on every corner, I guess. Like they're saying that it's like it's an option everybody is opting into in terms of just modifying their body.
One of the most popular surgeries in Korea, which Korea has one of the highest rates of plastic surgery, is the procedure to widen the eyes. So make the eyes appear more Caucasian. And this is directly the result of the power of Western marketing influence.
Yeah, just marketing purely.
Well, because the biggest export that America, for example, has, one of the most powerful things that we have is our marketing. We're just, the most widely known brands in the world are Coca-Cola, McDonald's, and we produce a lot of the media that's out there, Hollywood and all those types of things. And so a lot of these other cultures are seeing this marketing, and who's appearing in this marketing are Americans. And so they're trying to make themselves look more like Americans or whatever. And so you're getting a lot of that.
Do you think we're going to see the pendulum swing back, or do you think we're just going to get closer and closer to being like robotic looking?
It's happening, dude. People are looking more and more like.
That's what I'm saying. Do you think we're going to go further? Do you think the pendulum will swing back and eventually people will be like, okay, this is getting weird? Or as we get more and more connected to technology, are we just going to be more okay with it?
I think what's starting to happen is unnatural is becoming so accepted that that's what's considered natural. So what I mean by that is, if you went back 150 years and you saw a 45-year-old mother or a 40-year-old mother of 5 kids with perfectly perky boobs, everybody would have been like, that's fucking weird. Why do her boobs look like that? That doesn't make any sense. But now it's not a weird thing to see.
Can I come over for cookies?
I was just going to say, do you think weird's what came out of their mouth?
Yeah.
Well, no.
Weird.
I think they would have. I think they would have looked and said, like, let me put it this way. When you see butt implants today, they stand out. We saw one in Vegas. Remember we were in Vegas? We were at that hotel?
Yeah.
If that becomes popular?
I also think that people I think we're a bad example because, you guys you're so in tune with anatomy that you understand what the body should look like. And so when I see butt implants, especially butt implants, because boobs, if you do them in proportion to the rest of your body, you can get away with fake boobs, I feel like, and looking almost natural. But if you do,
natural maybe for a 20-year-old.
Whatever.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, but they're in a bra anyways and in a shirt. My point of what I'm saying is that I can see a fake ass a mile away, because if you have built an ass, inevitably, or if you're genetically gifted and you
it
have
would affect all the rest of the muscles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Your
hamstrings, quads.
And hamstrings are already like the number one neglected muscle on humans, period. We just don't do hamstring work hardly at all. And so most people have underdeveloped hamstrings. Most all of us do. And so if you're already got an underdeveloped muscle and then you don't have glutes and then you throw on these huge glutes, it just looks obvious to me. So,
now fast forward 20 years from now, and let's say it becomes the number one plastic surgery procedure, it will become so normalized that not having that weird proportion will look weird. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, I remember when we did that post, we paid God, what was her name? The Instagram model, JoJo, and she had like 2 million or something followers. I think she's got like 8 or 10 million now. But I remember when I was talking to her, and a couple times in between when we were negotiating, paying her to do a post, which did nothing for us, she was going in and out of surgery, and she was getting ass implants and I was like, she's already like this voluptuous looking girl already. And she was exaggerating the fuck out of it. And when you look at it on Instagram, it's funny. Like, I think on Instagram, it looks those weird.
Yeah, it looks impressive or like interesting, but in real life, it looks freakish.
Weird.
Yeah, it looks weird in real life.
And so I think what social media is starting to do is normalize distorted, plastic, extreme versions of what health is supposed to exemplify. Like a healthy body. Let's look at a male, for example. A healthy, fit male body, natural male body, will have wider shoulders to hip waist, a nice hip to waist ratio, waist to shoulder ratio, relatively lean, nice lines, muscularity, and strength. The exaggerated version of that would be a super small waist, super wide shoulders, super big bulging muscles, 2% body fat, okay? And that's becoming more normalized. And you see with women, the big perky boobs, the super small waist, the massive ass, the really small joints, the face that doesn't move because there's Botox everywhere, the big lips, these things that are becoming normalized, and what they're doing, they're making what health is supposed to look like. And they're just taking the cues that visually, when you look at somebody who's healthy, there's visual cues that tell you that they're attractive, because those visual cues are attached to health. But what they're doing with surgeries, they're taking those cues and they're exaggerating them.
Well, it's just like,
and that's becoming the norm.
It's just like with colors and food, right? Like, so you get like the crazy, like sugary cereals that are really bright colors, which signals you that these are bright fruits that have nutrients and things that I'm desiring. But it's just hijacking that sensation.
Great example. Yeah. And then you look at the colors in nature, and they're not nearly as neon color or whatever.
Tricks hasn't gone away, so does that mean this plastic surgery is not going away anytime soon?
I
don't think so.
When I watched the latest season of that last season of Jersey Shore, I couldn't believe what the girls' faces looked on there. Snooki and JWoww, and they looked terrible. But that's becoming normal.
Yeah.
So now you're seeing younger and younger women, for example, get that super crazy lip look and plastic surgery look. It's just going to get normal.
People are just so afraid of aging. They just don't want to show that they're aging, and like these, like, instead of embracing it. And there's certain cultures that you see like have embraced it, and it's just such a healthier vibe that they're putting off, as opposed to like really trying to maintain this youth by all means necessary. It just doesn't. It's not an attractive look to begin with.
It's a healthy mindset is being okay with what is. Now, that doesn't mean you don't take care of yourself and you're not healthy. In fact, if you have a healthy mindset, you're more likely to take care of yourself in ways that are appropriate. And so when you see someone who's 50, 60, 70 years old, who doesn't do all these crazy things to change their appearance, but is very healthy, maintains their fitness, eats very good, gets good sleep, they look good. They look vibrant, but they don't look fake. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, man.
I think it really stands out on the people that don't put the work in, because you see examples like, have you guys seen Jane Fonda right now?
Yeah.
She looks pretty badass. Yeah. And she's had a lot of work done too.
Have you seen her in person?
Her and Cindy Crawford?
She hasn't been by the house lately.
She's still a fox.
Have you ever seen some of these celebrities in person? They look good in pictures, but in person you could tell.
I won't disagree with you.
Up.
I won't disagree that some are like that for sure. But I get the feeling that somebody who has taken care of their body eating wise and training for most of their life, and they're in their 70s and they get a little bit of a facelift or something, I can't imagine them being. I've had clients like this. I have clients that you guys wouldn't even know that have had plastic surgery and you don't know. There's extremes of everything.
I think
sometimes it's subtle and you don't even know.
Yeah, you have
it
no.
Looks good. Yeah,
especially if you're taking care of yourself.
I think you don't know because it's become so norm to see more of the extremes. I think if those things never existed and then you saw even subtle, plastic surgeries, they would stand out quite a bit. It's just becoming more. I'm not saying it's good or bad. Do what you want. It's your body and your face and whatever. The thing that alarms me is what's driving it, and what's driving it is people they're not liking themselves. Okay. So check this out. This is a new statistic, by the way. The last 2 years, the life expectancy of Americans has dropped 2 years in a row. For the first time in a long time in modern times. And they went and they broke down the data to figure out why is the life expectancy decreasing? Is it because our health is worse? Are people just not literally living as long? No. What affected those numbers is heroin overdoses has been exploding and suicides in modern times has been growing. Both of which are connected to people not liking themselves and not liking life. People using all these drugs to numb themselves and dying, and people literally killing themselves. It's a weird time, and so I think plastic surgeries and all that shit it's spiking along the same thing. Yeah, it's going up the same way.
I can agree with that, and it's only going to get worse with the generation that's growing up right now that doesn't know any better. I mean, if you are born, in the last 5 years, like imagine these kids that are growing up in the Instagram world where you're going to have one by the time you hit elementary school.
It's not just that. It's that and the lack of meaning in other traditional things like spirituality, virtue, responsibility. So you don't have any of those things anymore. But what you do have is what's replacing all of that, because those are gone, is social media, materialism, a value in my appearance, my youth, and all those other things. And so because of that, you're getting what's called some people are calling it a crisis of meaning or a crisis of the spirit. So, and it's crazy if you think about it. Would you ever guess that more people are depressed and killing themselves today when we have way more shit and way less starving and way more money and way more everything else? It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's a new problem.
Yeah. Anyway, let's change the subject. Get on good.
Thank God for yoga pants, huh, guys?
Oh shit! Speaking of which, did you guys get your girls the Valentine's Day gifts from Fiore?
Man.
Are you going to wrap me out though on the podcast? Because I mean that's why I was the best.
She
part
listens.
The best.
Sorry,
whatever.
Dude.
Honey, I'll just have to double up, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, we used. We used our Fiore Connect to get some gear for the girls for Valentine's.
What'd you guys end up getting?
I got my girl the windbreaker. It's called the Stone Steps windbreaker. So.
A lot of people don't know Fiore makes women's clothing.
Oh, Katrina loves it.
Well, because we highlight the fact that it makes great, men's clothing to compete with like the Lululemon types. But yeah, they make like really good looking leggings.
She likes it over Lulu now. I mean, when we first started this show, I remember early on I'd tell you guys that. We used to have a second dresser in one of our guest rooms where the shoes are all at that she has. That's nothing but Lulu. That all the Lulu I've bought her since we were together, and that's now she's like been slowly letting it go and giving it to family and stuff like that.
What does she like why does she like Fiore more than the Lulu? Is it the feel and the durability? Because that's what Jessica says.
Courtney says it's the fit, and it's like definitely like she wears it out in public more than wearing the Lulus. Lulu's like really like obviously trying to like lift and emphasize the butt and all that kind of stuff. But this is like more. It does all that, but it's more like livable.
Yeah, she just thinks it's more comfortable. Yeah. It fits her a little bit better than even the Lulu does. And not to knock on Lulu, because she's loved Lulu, Freddie, and now Fiore have been like her go-to. If you see my girl working out in the gym, she's wearing one of those three for sure. And just now that we were sponsored with Fiore, she's had an opportunity to kind of go through and like try all that. So what I try and do is every time I buy myself something, I'll buy a different piece from it. This will be the first time she's had the windbreaker, so we'll see if she likes that. But so far everything that I've got her, she absolutely loves.
I got Jessica the Pace leggings, which I guess they're supposed to be for running and yoga. I don't know.
Yeah.
but they look good.
Get the racer leggings.
You got the racer ones?
Just get that stripe down the side.
We're such good boyfriends.
I know they're gonna look sharp.
Yeah, we got them clothes
I'm
from our
gonna be
sponsor.
perving on it. I'll be honest. Yeah.
And speaking of running, did you guys see in the news like all over the place about that runner in Colorado?
Yeah.
Did you hear about this?
No, what happened?
This guy went running up in the whatever in Colorado Hills or whatever, got attacked by a mountain lion.
What?
Yeah.
A mountain lion, actually a 90-pound, so it was a juvenile, but still 90-pound mountain lion.
Like pure muscle.
Bro, a 90-pound pit bull will take your ass down. This is
Yeah.
a fucking lion.
Well, let's just set the stage there.
Yeah.
I told you running
an
is bad.
aggressive animal
Yeah,
that can shred your face.
It came after him, and apparently this guy is a fucking jiu-jitsu guy. So
Is that his background?
Yeah.
I was wondering.
So he's fighting it off, and it's biting his arms, and so he went around and choked the fucking thing.
fucking choked it
death.
to death.
No way.
To death.
Choked it to death.
What a savage.
He killed the mountain lion.
Oh, wow.
That's the most badass human being
Dude,
on earth.
I wonder how many
Hopefully they let him
interviews
keep
he's
it.
lined up.
Hopefully
after
they
that.
let him keep it.
Dude, I would wear that thing like a scarf.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I'm getting that.
You got like his like front like fangs. just, like,
100%.
hanging off
You
your-
get that stuffed, and that's hanging in
gold
your
medallion.
in your living room
Dude,
for sure.
if this
yeah.
was 1,000 years ago, he would have gotten all the women, all the, you know what I mean? He comes
Right?
back with a fucking.
I make a helmet out of its head.
yeah,
Yeah.
you are the man.
Oh,
you are the
sick.
god.
That's sick.
Yeah, but you apparently you can choke out lions. So now that I know that,
Now that we know that,
Yeah,
the more you know.
I'm all good now.
He probably lucked out that it was an 80 or a 90 pounder for sure.
Oh, dude, you ain't gonna choke out a fucking Serengeti lion from Africa.
Yeah.
No.
Things gonna fuck you up.
Well, yeah, no. I'm surprised too. Like, I wonder if it jumped on his back and just started like mauling him, or like how that all like went down. You know, like, ugh,
That's
that'd
right.
be fucking crazy.
People get killed by them sometimes. I think wasn't there one attacked up in Santa Cruz not that long ago?
Well, there was one, actually, it was funny. I was talking to Courtney about this. Like, she worked with somebody who recently, like, they were on a hike somewhere in Mountain View, I think it was, and their son was with them and was kind of like behind them a bit, and one of the mountain lions actually snatched the kid, and then
What?
and then his dad ran after and actually had like punched it in the head, I guess, and like pried it out of its mouth. So it already grabbed it by its neck and was dragging it away. And anyway, this was in the news like maybe like a year ago or
Did
so.
the kid survive?
Yeah, kids survived. But they had to hold pressure on the neck and then like basically run because they didn't have cell service. They had to just run it back to the car and then take him to the ER.
Holy shit.
I never realized. I never think of that. But there's actual lions. Like,
Yeah,
in the mountains around us.
There
Like
was
real
one,
lions.
Like, so there's cameras where I live. Like, some people showed me footage of a mountain lion that was like walking through everybody's backyards. And I was like, oh shit.
Hell, because now everybody has those. Because cameras are cheap now, right? So, and you can go on Facebook and look at these groups. But these are people who live like in Almaden and shit. They're not even way up in the hills, and they'll show mountain lions like walking up their car. You know, stepping down, walking in the street. You imagine that
They're
shit?
among us, dude. You know? Like,
No, we grew
all the
up.
time.
We grew up around them. They used to come around like.
You ever see one?
Oh yeah, we used to see them all the time. Actually, when I lived up in Don Pedro, I mean they do like a little local alert whenever it happens, because if ones get spotted coming down, they'll come down and they'll kill your cattle, they'll kill a horse. If they're hungry and they haven't got any food, that's what sets them down to come down the mountain. Normally they're up there hunting and living up there. They don't want to come down, but they'll come down if they are hungry. And they're normally looking for something, and they'll pick up a dog, a cat, anything. So, yeah, no, we used to see them all the time.
Damn. What do you got there, Doug?
We've got a box from Thrive Market.
Hey, we haven't done a box in a while.
I know.
Yeah, we
I
haven't.
like when we do this.
He's got secrets.
Well, I just
we
wanted
get-
it to be exciting for you. Think about if it was Christmas every day. You know, you get kind of bored of that.
We'll see
I
about
don't
that.
know. I don't know about that.
Test it out.
Christmas? Yeah, how are you going to get bored with
Yeah,
Christmas?
Christmas every day.
Well, I got some stuff here. Some of it's for this studio, and some of it is for you guys.
Oh, you got us more.
Okay, you guys talked about these Siete
Oh,
grain-free
cool.
Oh, hell
tortilla
yeah.
chips. I got some of those.
I'll go
for
ahead
you.
and keep those
No,
right
no,
here.
I
The
thought-
ranch flavor.
I came up with those.
Okay,
remember?
well, I got 2 bags. So you got the Fuego ones.
Oh, you can have the Fuego ones.
Those are good. I can tell you that. Now, I always talk about macadamia milk. And so I got each of you one of them
Nice.
so that you can try it out and test it out. And let
You
me know.
refrigerate it, Doug?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so let me know if you think it's better than almond milk
Okay.
or any other type of
Thank you.
milks, because I think it is.
From
more-
the teats of macadamia.
More forks.
Nice.
We go through a lot of forks around here.
That's forking crazy.
Fork off.
All right. Now, this next one, you could guess who it's for. It's Citrus Magic Organic Odor Eliminating Air Freshener, Orange Zest Smell Odor.
There you go, Justin.
I'll spray it all over your
who might
mic.
need this for the bathroom?
Oh, Doug's put me on blast.
No, I didn't call you out. You called yourself
This is a
out.
roast. This is a roast.
And now that we have the bathroom pretty much all to ourselves, I've got some hand soap here. We got a foaming hand wash.
Nice.
And then there's this other one I thought might be interesting, which is a grapefruit mandarin charcoal hand wash.
Oh.
Which is interesting.
I use charcoal soap.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Yep, I like it.
And
I really like
Doesn't
it.
leave your hands black?
No.
It feels
No,
like
no.
you could use charcoal for so many things.
Yeah, I think it's the new coconut oil.
Yeah, you like brush your teeth with
It's
it.
the new coconut oil.
You stave off like hangovers.
It was
with
what was it? It was apple cider vinegar at one point.
Yeah.
And then it was coconut oil. Now it's charcoal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just rub
that's
it all
it.
over your body.
I feel like we helped set the charcoal trend, though.
We did. We did.
Yeah, I think everybody's been doing it with the alcohol thing. It's been a game changer.
Dude, it fucking works, bro.
Yeah.
It is, man.
You have black poops for a day or whatever. but
It
it's all
saved
good.
me. It saved me in Vegas from a hangover. It just didn't save me from getting sick afterwards.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not designed to protect the immune system at all.
No.
No.
So this macadamia nut milk, Doug. Let me look at the macros on this thing. Oh wow! So 8 ounces, 5 grams of fat, 1 gram of carbohydrate, 1 gram of protein. Of course, it's no milk. It's pretty good. It's
only 50 calories.
Pure
the
nut
unsweetened.
milk.
it's called Moo is Moot, and it's made from free range trees. What the hell does that mean?
I think they're growing down in, is it
Australia.
Yeah.
Oh wow, Australian macadamia milk. I can't wait to try this.
Random trees.
Now, is that more expensive than almond and coconut, or is it
I
relatively
think
the
it
same?
may be a little bit more expensive. They have a good price on Thrive Market. If I go to Whole Foods, it's like I think $1 more
Oh,
per
wow.
container.
Oh, bro,
so you
Thrive is cheaper and
definitely
everything.
save money by
Thrive
going
wins
to
every time.
Thrive Market. Today's Quad is brought to you by MAPS Anabolic. If you're looking to maximize your overall muscle and strength, MAPS Anabolic is the perfect place to start. With a full 30-day money-back guarantee, there is absolutely zero risk. So what are you waiting for? Go to mindpumpmedia.com and get started today.
It's the motherfucking Quad.
Eagle has landed.
First question is from Rabri. Can you guys explain the proper or best way to progress into both pistol squats and box jumps? These are moves I find a little more challenging and want to master, but don't want to risk injury by going in blindly.
Sounds like someone who goes to a CrossFit. It's like for that to even be something that has a goal that you want to do. You know how many people I
Well-
did pistol squats and box jumps with?
Yeah.
Can you remember how
Yeah,
many?
there's not a whole lot.
No,
I don't know, 1, 2.
You know.
I mean, serious, not that
No,
much at all.
Not at all. I mean, I think working towards the ability to do a pistol squat, I think is a good goal to have. Like,
Yeah.
Hey, like realizing, hey, I can't do this without my heel rising or feeling terrible on my knees or my upper back rounding over hella bad. So I think it's a good goal that all of us should kind of aspire to get to, but I don't think it's something that we should have in most people's routines. I think it's extremely challenging for someone to get that kind of depth with both feet on the ground, much less one.
Well, I think recognizing it that those are, like higher skills and those are harder for you to like naturally do. Like I think that's good to recognize that there's going to be work involved in working your way up towards those type of skills because they're very like novel, unique type of skills. The jumping itself, in terms of like box jumping, there's a lot of application there in terms of like being able to generate force and express that, and also stabilize it and control. So that's the most simple way to kind of look at power production. But in terms of like the pistol squat. For me, that's one of those things. It's like a very unique sort of a trick. Like it looks good on Instagram. Like I've done it plenty of times just to kind of like show off or whatever. But like having just like a Bulgarian split squat or something like that, where I'm getting sort of the same effect, to me has a little more value personally. But if I was to work on it, I would start real basic and start with my foot in a position where it's going to sort of emulate that, where my heels down on the ground, my toes up. And then I might even use the squat rack to start walking my way down, keeping my chest up nice and high.
We made a YouTube of this.
Yeah. Okay. So we made a YouTube. So yeah, there's a progression to it, of course, and a regression. So just take your steps sort of on a natural pace with that.
So for people listening, a pistol squat is essentially a one-legged squat. You're just balancing on one leg.
Yeah.
The other leg is straight out in front.
Just out in front.
And you're squatting down. I think Adam hit the nail on the head when he said that people have a tough enough time doing a two-legged squat with good control, good balance, good stability, and good range of motion. And a two-legged squat is a fundamental, foundational part of human movement. There's certain things that are considered foundational movements in human locomotion or movement, and one of them is a squat with both legs. Most people can't do that. So to take them from a two-legged squat and say, okay, now we're going to do a pistol squat, you got to be really, 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 really good at doing all the two-legged stuff before you even play around with the one-legged stuff. You have to have really good ankle mobility with a pistol squat, more than you would need with a two-legged squat. You need really good hip stability and mobility, more so than you would with a traditional squat. You'd need good, of course, balance. You need good core stability and control. A lot of people go in a really, really strong tailbone tuck at the bottom of a pistol squat because they lose that that control at the bottom. So it's a tough exercise. Now, if you can do a pistol squat properly, then it becomes a great exercise. If you have everything down and it's good control and good strength, good stability, ankles, hips, knees, everything feels good. It's a great exercise because it's dramatically increasing the load that you're placing on one leg, and it involves a lot of balance. So how do you progress yourself to get to that point? Well, step one, get really good at regular squats first. Get really, really, really good at regular squats. Then I'd say get really, really good at split stance type squatting movements. Then get really, really good with split stance, 1 foot elevated type movements like a Bulgarian squat. Then I would probably have someone step on a box and do step ups and practice stepping up. Then I would have them practice just squatting down on a box while one leg kind of hangs off the box and the other leg is on the box. So imagine if you're standing on a bench or a box with your right leg and your left leg is just kind of hanging. Practice squatting down and coming up with just your right leg. So that way you're mimicking that one-legged movement. And then, Justin gave a great example where you're kind of holding on to something as you're mimicking this exercise. But it's really think of it as a skill, not necessarily a strength, movement, and practice like you'd practice any other skill. You're not going balls out with it. You're just going little by little trying to perfect the movement.
Well, what do you guys think about the box jump? So when I'm trying to teach somebody how to jump properly, I like to take them from a seated position. So I'll start them like in a chair or on a elevated bench where they are in a seated position, and then I just have them jump up. We're not jumping onto anything yet. We're just coming from a seated position and then jumping out of that position. And that's just teaching them proper mechanics on how to do a proper jump. Because the most common thing you see when someone who doesn't know how to jump right is right away the body will leverage, the knees kind of cave in, you rock to the front of your toes, and you get this real ugly looking, leverage to hop up on something. That's typically where somebody ends up hurting themselves. So, it's learning how to come out of the hole properly and then jump straight up, and then also to land.
It's crazy how people, because you never train somebody who's older and you watch them try to do a one-legged exercise, or I've seen other trainers have their older clients try and jump, and it's a skill that they've lost because they never practice it. And so you see people try and jump on. I've seen trainers try to have their older clients jump on like a foam pad that's maybe, I don't know, what is that, 3 inches, 4 inches high,
and they'll still stack.
They have a tough time trying to get on it.
I know,
because they can't even jump. I'd say the first thing you practice if you want to practice box jumps is just jumping.
Yeah,
right. Like don't jump on anything.
In place. Yeah, I would say that. To be honest, I've found that sometimes it's even easier for me to teach just like a kettlebell swing, a real basic kettlebell swing with hip hinging movement that is trying to express that same explosive power than like putting that kind of stress on the joints with, a box jump or just jumping in general. So I think it varies across the board in terms of like what abilities they're bringing in, and then I'll coach to those abilities and see what I can, progress upon and build upon. But if it's somebody that like doesn't even know how to generate, like the first thing is being able to control that kind of force and power and where all that force is being distributed. So you really have to make sure that, all the joints and all the prerequisites are there and mobility wise. And the skill of it, it's all by itself.
Yeah, people have to think of it this way. If you're about to do a new movement, even if that movement is a natural human movement, you see people do it all the time on TV. Don't worry about that. Look at yourself. So if you're going to go and you're like, I'm going to go start running, think to yourself, how often have I ran in my life recently? And if it's never or almost never, okay, I got to start really fucking slow. Like I got to start as if this is my first time running and I got to learn the skill of it. If you never jump, which most people never jump, it sounds crazy to say, but really think about that. The average adult who goes to work and pays their bills and has kids or whatever, ask them, seriously, think about it. When do they jump? They don't. They never jump. They walk. They maybe will jog from a short distance, like to go catch their kid before they run off to the street, but they never jump. So they're going to all of a sudden go in the gym and jump for a workout. Yeah. No, you got to learn the skill. You got to learn the skill of jumping. You never jump, so practice the skill of jumping. This goes for all activities. This reminds me of the recent podcast we did with the Jazzercise guy, and he's like, hunter-gatherers, they chewed for so many hours during the day and we're super weak. It's like, okay, well, that's true, but taking the average person and giving them something to chew on to work their jaw from what we're doing now, you're going to cause problems. Just like you would if you all of a sudden tried to go running barefoot like our ancestors did.
Yeah, you see the difference in what kind of musculature is there in the feet and the toes, with ancient hunters gatherers, as opposed to now. It's like that would be detrimental for our feet.
I would say just go slow.
This also reminds me of why I don't like CrossFit still. It's like the fact that this is even a question. So it's obvious to me this is somebody that's either taking a CrossFit class or taking one right now, and this is what they're doing. And so it's like, I need to learn how to box jump. Where if you were a client of mine and I assessed your movement, I would probably tell you, no, we're not going to box jump. No, we're not going to pistol squat right now. I've got plenty of other things that I want to work on with you before we would even think about even working towards that.
The only reason, too, and I normally am the first to bash CrossFit, but like in performance, we do have box jumps, and I've had to defend it on some level in terms of like the volume of it, and so we've reduced significantly in the new rollout, coming out because of the fact that I want to treat it more of a skill. So this is something to work towards. That a lot of people will limit themselves in terms of strength and will never express themselves with any sort of power in their movements. And that is something that you will lose over the years. So if you are somebody that's doing that consistently, in your youth and you're playing sports or you just like activities and to do things and abilities. Like for me, I like to still play basketball. I like to still, play softball. I like to move and be able to control like explosive reactive movement. And so for me, it's important. So I do need to do things like box jumping, but there's a process to that. And you just have to treat it with its own specific focus.
No, and the way we created Mass Performance is for people who like to be able to express their bodies in athletic ways.
Yeah, I'm not recommending it to a person that probably can't do a pistol squat or can't do a regular two-legged.
Never jumped.
Yeah, or never jumped. Like if you're breaking, and a lot of this too, a lot of speculating going on right now because I have no idea what this person's mechanics looks like. If I saw the way you moved, like I would be able to better tell like how far away you are from doing this right now. Like if you if you go to do a box jump and you only get a slight bend in the knee and the knee's collapsing right away and the jump is just awful, and then the pistol squat is just it's unhurt. There's no way you're getting down there without your heels rising up or you feeling all this pain. Like if you're that far away, well, then there's so many other things that I want to do with you before that. Now, if you're somebody who's already jumping pretty well, you're just trying to get to another level and you're afraid and there's more fear of jumping up onto a box that's 2 feet off the ground or whatever. So being able to see this person, would really probably change this conversation a little bit more too. I know we're harping on CrossFit and then we're just assuming that this person can't jump very well at all because they're asking to be able to jump on a jump off.
No, it's a good point. I mean, the way you should treat box jumps are like a skill, and then once you've got the skill down, you treat it like a power exercise, which is you jump as hard as you can once, you step down, you recover, gather yourself, and you do it again.
Yeah.
That's how you should treat a box jump. So it's either A, as a skill, practice jumping, get really good at the skill, and then B, I got the skill, now I'm just maximizing power output, versus the way a lot of people use box jumps, which is
conditioning.
Just I'm going to get you tired.
Yeah, that's not the way to use it.
And it's a cool way to get you tired. It looks cool. You don't really need a box for that. You could just run in a circle and you get the same, you get the same results for the fatigue.
Right.
Next question is from Alexana Duge. Can you use a trigger session as a warm-up on a foundational workout day?
So trigger sessions are what are in MAPS Anabolic. And so for people who don't know, these are very light, short, 8 to 10 minute pumping workouts that you do on your off days to facilitate that
total body pumping
muscle building signal. You're not trying to break muscle down. You're not trying to cause lots of damage. You're trying to get a little bit of a pump and a little bit of a burn. And that helps your body recover and build muscle. And you do them frequently throughout the day, 2 to 3 a day on those off days. And they're very, very effective. When you incorporate them in your routine, I don't care what routine you're doing, whether it's MAPS Anabolic or your own routine, do these on your off days and watch what happens to your progress.
That being said, yeah, you would be way better off, instead of using trigger sessions to warm up on a foundational, doing more specific to
priming.
Yeah, priming. I think figuring out and that's why we created Prime, was for you to take the assessment, figure out where there's a breakdown in your body, and then those movements are the movements that you should be doing before you get into a foundational day. The pumping, the trigger sessions, to send an anabolic signal right before you're about to go into a lift. If anything,
no need.
Yeah, if it's counterproductive, right? If anything, it could potentially utilize more energy than you'd like.
I would say it's better than nothing, just because you're moving,
right,
and you're warming. You're getting the CNS to fire a little bit better, and you're feeling your muscles warm, and you're less likely to hurt yourself because once you get the CNS to fire a little bit, it fires a little bit more appropriately when you go do your heavy lifts. So it's better than nothing, but it's along the lines of how people used to always view warming up, which was to warm the body up,
right.
Which I guess is better than, and it is better than just jumping straight into a workout, but it's not that much better. And really the purpose that it serves is to reduce injury. What priming does is of course it reduces the risk of injury. That's a given. But what it does is it maximizes the workout you're about to do by encouraging better movement. So if I, for example, let's say I'm about to do my squat workout, and I did my assessment and I have really bad thoracic mobility. So thoracic is the kind of it's like kind of my upper mid back area. I'm not able to pull my shoulders back and really grab the bar when the bar's on my back. It's just tough. So I tend to have this rounded upper back when I'm holding the bar. And it's hard to get into position. The way I would prime before squatting for that particular situation would be movements that would help me activate and bring my shoulders back, loosen up the muscles that are tight that are preventing that from happening, strengthen and activate the muscles that help pull the shoulders back, and just get me in a better position. So now that I've primed properly, when I go squat, my form is better right out the gates. It's good right away. So rather than what usually happens with people when they go into a workout is it takes them 3, 4, 5 sets of that exercise to feel like they're in the groove, and sometimes they still don't feel like they're in the groove.
Yeah.
Proper priming session, boom, I get into it, and I'm in the groove right away, and I get more
that's
out of the
difference.
exercises.
It's like you're working your way towards that feeling, or you're preparing your body to get there like ahead of time, which you're showing your body the road, the map to what type of movement you want to produce. And then you solidify that by, really kind of contracting and squeezing and sending that signal that this is the way that we're going to operate through this movement. And now I taught my body that that's the path. Now I apply that with load versus I'm just going to apply load and try and manipulate my body real time and kind of get my way to that destination.
And not to mention, look, if I start the squat process without really addressing that upper back rounding position, right? And I squat that way, I can get away with squatting that way. And I may actually be able to start to squat heavy that way. Mm-hmm. But what ends up happening is I end up creating a strong, recruitment pattern that incorporates a rounded upper back. That becomes my squat form. That becomes my squat position. Mm-hmm. And that's going to limit how much I can progress, because at some point that is going to either get me hurt or just limit the amount of weight that I can squat. Or here's the other part. I'm not able to activate my muscles as effectively. So I'm just not getting the most out of the exercises. So something I've said in the past is I've told people, look, if you prime properly, you can expect to get like 5 to 10% more out of those exercises. So the same exercises, just you're going to get more out of them, more in terms of your results, because you prime properly. So before you work out, rather than warming up, go into your warm up with an intent. And that's really in a nutshell what priming is. It's warming up with intent. Mm-hmm. And the intent is based off of how your body moves, what your particular issues are. Is it your ankle mobility that you have issues with? Is it your ability to pull back your shoulders when you do some exercises? Is it your hip mobility? Do you find a lot of times people will have hip pain or IT band tightness? That's the side of the thigh. We used to all foam roll all the time, right? We'd foam roll it because the IT band would get tight and people have pain there. A lot of times that's just because you're not able to activate the muscles that pull your legs apart, the abductors. So when you prime properly and you start squatting, no more IT band pain. You don't have to foam roll them every single time you work out. So can trigger sessions be used as a warm-up? Yeah. I mean, I guess they can. It's better than nothing. But if you really want to maximize your workout and do it the right way, you want to prime.
Next question is from That Fly Guy. Thoughts on using TRX for trigger sessions on non-gym days?
Suspension training. Ooh. You did this for a while, right, Justin?
I did, yeah. I actually had a focus on like anything and everything body weight related. And suspension trainers played a big part of that for me, because I didn't want to just do push-ups and pull-ups and, just like I was trying to figure out ways to intensify all these different types of movements, and suspension trainers allowed for different angles, different gravitational forces for me to, really progress lots of these movements. And so I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. But I do definitely see this as another tool, not something like I went way too long, of a period with it. And I felt that it definitely got to a point where I hit plateaus because I stayed in that mentality for way too long.
I think the only thing you have to be careful of if you're using it for trigger sessions is doing too much.
Too hard?
Yeah, too hard. Because it's not, some of the moves are challenging. Doing a push-up on those things is legit. That can get you, if you've never used a suspension trainer before and you use one, you can get really sore from that. So that's there's some great shoulder, bicep, tricep, real lightweight type movements that I use it for. When I taught at OTF, they use a suspension trainer in there, so I've taught tons of exercise in there, and I like it. I really do like it. And I have a rope that I use at my house, real similar to this when I'm just kind of pumping. So I've used it for trigger sessions. You just got to be careful that you don't go, crazy with it, because you can.
Yeah, because a trigger session is meant to be low intensity.
Yeah, that's the only one thing that I'd say. I think it's a great idea. We actually included this in
Maps Anywhere.
Yeah, Maps Anywhere. There's a whole section on suspension trainers. We gave that as like a free mod that's inside there, and I don't know, there's 30 exercises.
Yeah,
in there?
there was a bunch. Some of my favorite moves that you could do with the TRX or another like competing suspension trainer, or like even Olympic rings and things like that. For me, I always liked it because there's different ranges of motions you don't quite have access to, either with cables or with dumbbells or barbells. I mean, dumbbells you can get away with a lot just because you can kind of move your body to get in a position where you could probably hit certain parts a little more effectively. But in terms of like being able to add stress in different ranges of motion, like a suspension trainer will hit new areas that you haven't really been able to challenge.
I love like W's and I's and shoulder work on there. There's a lot. I use it for that more than anything else.
Good shoulder stability
yeah,
stuff.
Oh my God, yeah.
I've used it for priming too. So we just answered a question on how you should prime, and this is trigger sessions. I know we're talking about now, but I've used the suspension trainer to prime. I know that we talk about zone 1 is probably one of the areas where I break down the most. And so kind of waking up all those upper back and rear delt muscles, man, that makes a
And I know we talk shit. Well, I know core is like this term that's like been beaten to death. But in terms of me being able to challenge my whole body to stabilize, like it puts a lot more pressure on that whole stabilization process without having to juggle and balance on balls and all that kind of stuff at the same time.
Well, the thing about using suspension trainers like TRX that I think is awesome is what I find that's awesome about all body weight style training, which is exercise involves a level of skill, and the better you get at certain exercises, the better you get at these types of skills. That's part of why you get stronger. Part of the reason why you get stronger at something is you just get better at doing that movement. It becomes more of a natural movement. You develop a skill for it. And the skills that you develop manipulating your body through space are different than the skills you develop manipulating weights around your body. So if I use lots of free weight, and I love free weights, that's the majority of how I train. But if I only use free weights and I get really strong with free weights, I'm not going to develop the same skill that I would get getting strong, being able to move my body around. So an example of this would be like a bench press versus a push-up. When I'm on a bench and I'm doing a bench press, I'm pressing the bar away from my body. My body is stationary. The only things moving are my hands. When I'm doing a push-up or a suspension trainer push-up, my hands are in a particular place, and my body is what's moving. And so the skill I develop is how to move my body around. And this is actually quite valuable in everyday life, because in everyday life, you need to move heavy objects around, but mostly what you do is move your body around.
Yeah.
And so you want to develop these skills. And so I find body weight training to be incredibly functional for everyday life. The problem is they tend to require more skill, and they're not as forgiving as free weights and dumbbells and barbells tend to be. Like, it's hard to do an overhead press type exercise with just your body weight unless you're already super strong and have lots of
like closed chain,
stability.
open chain movements. Like the importance of both. And yeah, I think that body weight training, for me, it helps me to understand my body more, in terms of like how to sort of distribute and allocate resources of force and how to put pressure in certain areas of my body. And so it kind of slows things down and helps you to kind of understand how your body like works as one unit too, I think, more effectively. Sometimes we get distracted by the weights and like what the weights are doing and everything else. It really helps to kind of hone in and center in like what's really going on with your body.
It's a different feel too. Like if you do a lot of body weight movements, just walking around, you feel agile. Mm-hmm. It's a different kind of feeling. Now, if you lift a lot of heavy weights, you walk around feeling strong and powerful. Yeah. So it's just a different feeling, and I think they complement each other. So even if you're just into bodybuilding or you just want to sculpt your body, incorporating suspension training, you can get a lot of benefits for how your body looks and just how your body feels. That will translate to the weights.
Next question is from K.M. Emerson. Is there any truth to the belief that the body can only absorb up to 30 grams of protein at one time? If a person eats more than that at one meal, is it wasted?
I love this. This is along the same industry that invented the word cellulite and invented the word toned also invented this bullshit.
I was part of this
statistic.
problem for a good at least 5 to 8 years.
I believed it.
Yeah, no, I believed it too. I can't remember where I first read, and this is another classic example how we take like a little bit of science and we twist it, for marketing purposes.
Well, we got to tell people why. Think about it this way: if you have a protein powder right now around you, grab your protein powder jug, look at the back. How many grams of protein is one serving? Right. I guarantee you it's around 30.
Yeah, it's 20 to
real
30.
Close.
It'll be 20
It's
to 30.
around 30. The reason why they picked that number is because that's how much protein powder they found that they could put in a scoop and keep it from being too big of a scoop and being not palatable. And so the supplement industry came out with this bullshit, statistic. You can only absorb around 30 grams of protein. Oh, and by the way, our protein powders come in these very convenient 30-gram,
sweet.
servings that are just one scoop, and now you've got 40 servings in your bottle or whatever.
Now, there is some truth to it as far as how fast your body can assimilate protein, though, right? So it doesn't matter if let's say I take 90 grams in one sitting. I think the science they played on here was that, okay, if you add 90 grams of protein, the body only assimilates 30 of that within an hour. But then the next hour after that, it's assimilating the next 30 and then the
Something
next
like
30.
that.
Yeah. So that's where the confusion came, is they took a little bit of information. That is true that, okay, the body isn't assimilating more than 30 grams an hour. But that doesn't mean that you can't have a 300 gram of protein meal and then over the course of the next.
Well, I mean, there's some truth.
Digest it along the way.
There's some truth that your body can only process a certain amount at a given time. Like yeah, I could definitely overeat and make myself throw up because my body can't handle anymore. But besides that, look, let me put it this way. If you could only absorb X amount of grams of proteins or carbs or fats at one time, then obesity wouldn't be an issue. Yeah. Because I would eat.
You would store it.
Yeah, I'd sit down and I'd be like, cool, I'm going to eat this fucking 3,000 calorie meal. My body's only used 500 calories. The rest of it just comes out my body and I'm all good.
You just shit everything out.
Yeah, no, it does not. This is more of that bullshit to sell you protein powders. Because here's what they would do, okay? First, they would sell you that you need to have ungodly amounts of protein. Okay, so if you're a 150-pound female, they'd be like, you need to have 170 grams of protein. Then they would say, but you can only absorb 30 grams of protein at a time. So then here you are, 170 grams of protein, divide that by 30.
Right, that means 6 meals a day.
That's like 6 meals. So I'm like, oh shit, I need to have 6 meals. Oh, plus if you eat 6 meals, it's going to help with all these other things. Most people are not going to walk around with 6 actual meals. They'll end up having 3 meals with 3 powdered meals, which are the protein
bars.
powders or bars. And Presto Changeo, they made money off of you because you bought
Presto Changeo.
because you bought their protein powder.
It's still a common question. I mean, it got a ton of likes too. There's still a lot of people. That's why I was trying to find something after I saw the question of what I wish I remember what I read when I started spreading this awful information. And I'm sure I didn't go deep enough to find who, where the study came from and who probably, funded the study and who was supporting it.
I remember reading it in the muscle magazines, and they would recommend these super frequent feedings, and they'd say, now the bodybuilding magazines upped it a little bit. So they would say 30 to 50 if you have a lot of muscle. And I think it's because they realized that they were recommending guys eat 250 grams of protein a day, and they're like, well, fuck, that's like, how many meals is that every single day? Right. We need to up it a little bit so it's not too crazy. And they'd say things like, if you get it's wasted. If you eat protein frequently, then you're going to have elevated levels of protein in your blood all day long, which are going to maximize muscle. Otherwise, your muscles will starve if they don't have protein all day long. If you eat all at once, your body would. The two things that I would hear is either A, you waste it, or B, you store it. So this way they could play on both the skinny and the fat people. It's a very interesting ploy. So the skinny people like me would be like, oh fuck, I'm wasting it. Yeah. The fat people would be like, I can't eat more than 30 grams because the rest of it's going to store as body fat.
Right.
And so they sold everybody on this bullshit. But no, it's not wasted at all. You could eat 100 grams of protein at a sitting, so long as you could digest it, not a problem. Some people have indigestion or issues with digestion if they eat too much at once. I
just think immediately of prehistoric times or whatever. Like we're like killing a massive animal, and like you have to eat it like pretty much that day. Like you have to, and you're going to be digesting that for a long time, And it's like if we're not going to use any of that energy, we'd be fucked.
No, humans actually thrive off of less frequent eating. The studies now in the science is pretty conclusive that we do pretty well eating less frequently for the most part, or incorporating fast here and there. Our bodies evolved to do that. I would have never thought that. If you asked me that 15 years ago, I would have been like, are you crazy? You want me to not eat? I'm going to lose muscle. I used to, if I went somewhere with my family or whatever, I remember I'd be like, how long are we gone for? Okay, 4 hours, cool. I'm going to bring 2 protein bars so I can make sure I have, protein. Or just to make you laugh a little bit, if I had 1 protein bar, but I knew I wasn't going to be around food for 4 or 5 hours, I'd split the protein bar up into 2 or 3 pieces.
I did stuff like that.
Did you do that?
Oh, yeah.
To maximize the feeding frequency.
Yeah, no.
Absolutely silly.
Yeah, it's just like hysteria.
So anyways, look, if you go to mindpumpfree.com, you can download any of our guides for free or all of them for free. Some of these guides teach you how to squat more weight, build your arms, flatten your midsection. There's a few of them on there, and they're all free. Again, mindpumpfree.com. You can also find all of our individual pages on Instagram. We have our own social media pages with our own unique content.
We did it.
Justin is at Mind Pump Justin. Adam is at Mind Pump Adam. And Sal, me, I'm at Mind Pump Sal.
Thank you for listening to Mind Pump. If your goal is to build and shape your body, dramatically improve your health and energy, and maximize your overall performance, check out our discounted RGB Super Bundle at mindpumpmedia.com. The RGB Super Bundle includes MAPS Anabolic, MAPS Performance, and MAPS Aesthetic. 9 months of phased expert exercise programming designed by Sal, Adam, and Justin to systematically transform the way your body looks, feels, and performs. With detailed workout blueprints and over 200 videos, the RGB Super Bundle is like having Sal, Adam, and Justin as your own personal trainers, but at a fraction of the price. The RGB Super Bundle has a full 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can get it now plus other valuable free resources at mindpumpmedia.com. If you enjoy this show, please share the love by leaving us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes and by introducing Mind Pump to your friends and family. We thank you for your support, and until next time, this is Mind Pump.